Hello, I'm Sean Siff with iRacing TV, back with another how-to segment. iRacing 2.0 just came out, and one of the most interesting and exciting features is tournament racing. So we're going to take you through all the different aspects to setting up your own tournament, and when we're done, you're going to be able to host your own tournament and enjoy that feature. Before you launch your first tournament session, the first item on your list to do is to make sure you have enough credits. To see how many credits you have, you want to go up into the My Account tab right here. Then once you determine how many credits you have, and if you need to add any more, you go to the store, then you go to gift certificates. I'm not going to do it right now for this how-to, but the first item that you have to do is determine how many credits you'd like to purchase, then you add them to your account, and then just go through the checkout process. You're going to be issued a code, and once you have that code, you want to go back to View Cart right here at the top of the website, paste in the code, and then click Apply. And now your account is loaded with credits. To find where to host a tournament race on our website, you need to use the gray nav bar, go to Hosted, and then down to Host a Tournament Race. Once it loads, you've got two options. You can either create a new tournament or continue an active tournament. If this is your first tournament, you'll notice that there's no active tournaments that you can continue. To begin your tournament, all you need to do is select a tournament name. Once you have the name in place, hit Create. Now that you're ready to set up your first tournament round, you'll notice that this screen right here is very similar to the Host a Race feature that we've had on Hosted Racing and on iRacing for some time. The main difference is down here where my mouse is at the tournament session type. To begin your tournament, you've got two options. You can go into a qualifier or straight into a race. And you can, of course, go through these different options when you have time. We're going to begin this how-to video with a qualifier. And what we're going to do is a open practice session followed by a lone, that is a one-car qualifier. For this example, while you can choose different servers, we're going to stick with just one server for now. Because I chose an open practice plus lone qualifier, I now have to make sure that I've provided enough time for all the people in my tournament to come in. So for this example, we'll just choose 5 minutes, but here you see you can choose many options for practice. And then for a standard qualifier, I'll go with 2 laps, and we'll make sure that we have enough time for everyone to get 2 laps in, and I'll select 15 minutes. And then the nice thing about hosted racing is that if you'd like, you can even have driving aids. For this example, we won't add them, but here you can see this is a new option on hosted racing. Fast tows, we'll select unlimited, and then everything else is just like you've seen it before. Now, it doesn't hurt to add a description. This is something that all members will be able to read, especially if this is a public session. You can also make your tournament private, but of course you have to make sure you provide the password to all the drivers. Once you've confirmed that all the details you have are in place and you're ready to go, click Purchase and Race Now. This will give you one final opportunity to make sure that the parameters for your first round of your tournament are all set. When you're ready, hit Confirm, but you only have to press it once. When it's time to enter the session, all you have to do is click the green button. And from here, everything's going to load up just like you've seen it before. You'll see the staging taking place right now. And we'll go in and we'll run this event, and we'll come back and go through the next part of this how-to section, which is going to be loading up your first preliminary round. So once your first round of your tournament is complete, you're going to come back to this screen here. Again, that's under Hosted, and you go to Host a Tournament Race. What you want to do is select the Continue an Active Tournament function right here. You'll notice that the title of your tournament name is already populated and ready for you to click Continue. Next thing you want to do is, of course, apply your session name. Since we just ran a qualifying session, I'm going to title this one Heat Race Number 1. I'm going to keep the session open, so no password. If I wanted to, I could go and view the results from the first round of qualifying. Again, that option's right there for you. I'm going to make sure I choose the proper session length, and then go through all the other options just like we had before. The tournament session type gives me the same options I had on my first round of the tournament. I can choose to go through another qualifier, or I can go into a race. Since we already did a qualifying one, I'm going to choose Open Practice plus Race. You'll notice that you have to choose a tournament round designation. Again, this is new. You can either choose a preliminary round or final round. An important thing to know about tournament racing is that a tournament starts with a qualifying or preliminary round, and it must end with a final round. In other words, your tournament is going to be open and available to continue for as long as you want until you select final round. So again, we just ran a qualifier. This is going to be our first, if you will, heat race. So I'm going to choose preliminary round and then set the grid for how I'd like it to run. After you've selected your tournament round designation, you can go to practice time and choose this. Again, this is just a warm-up. And then you'll see here in this drop-down, you can choose for your race length either minutes or laps and minutes. For this example, I'm going to go with laps and minutes. All I need to do here to complete this box properly is choose the number of laps I want and then how many minutes I would like the race to run. Now, the cool thing here is that you've got complete control over how long you want this race to last for. So for me, I think 5 laps can be completed, within 15 or so minutes, but just in case, I'll add an additional few minutes. Again, it doesn't change the cost of the session, but it does allow for you, as the admin or the host, to have full control over what your session's going to look like. One completely new feature to tournament racing, and one of the really cool parts of this, is right here under the mouse, race field and grid configuration. So, here's where I get to set up my race grid. And this is where the fun of tournament racing really begins. The first step to setting up my race field is choosing whether I want a percentage of the drivers in the previous qualifying round to move forward, or if I just want to use a straight number of entrants. Keep things simple here. Since there's only a few drivers in my session, I'm just going to have the top 100%, in other words, all of the drivers enter the next session. All I need to do is now click Load Drivers. You'll see that all the drivers in my previous session are here in what's called the current race field. If I'd like, I can choose drivers to leave the session by dragging them into the recycle bin and then clearing it. If I want to add drivers who didn't make my first qualifying session, I can do that. This is a great area of tournament racing where, again, we've given you, as the host or admin, 100% control over the session. All I need to do is look up the customer ID for the driver I'd like to add, and then I simply click the Add button, and they'll populate right down here in the current race field. To search for a driver by Cust ID, the way to begin that process is to go to our home page and then enter the driver's last name in the driver search box in the upper right-hand corner. Once the search is done, and if you found the driver you're looking for, simply click on their name, and then note in the upper left-hand corner, right on the web address box, you'll see the words Cust ID equals, and then a number. That entire number is your customer ID. So feel free to use that to add drivers into your tournament session. What the current race field screen tells you is it's going to tell you who are going to be in your session when you grid for your next round. Again, we've only done one qualifying race so far, and all the drivers you see here were in that session. I want all of them to race in my first heat race, so I'm simply going to bring them down into the next round. One thing I can choose here is the grid algorithm. This is one of the really cool things about tournament racing. Now it's time to choose how I'd like the racers set up for my first heat race. Again, I'm just going to choose something simple. We're going to go with sequential. But again, there's some really great options, including snake splitting if you're running more than one server. You can invert your top drivers, or you can just choose a random order. To keep my colleagues happy, I'm going to simply choose a sequential order, again, just in qualifying time. I'll apply that to the grid by clicking the green button. The whole point of this is that we've given you as much control as possible over the way your tournament's going to run. So we'll see you on the racetrack for round 2. Now that our first qualifying race is officially over, this was basically our first heat race, what you want to do is, as the admin or host, make sure you remind the drivers in your session to head back to the Join a Race page on our home page so that they can join the next round of your tournament. If you're scheduling tournament rounds in advance, or if you're running different tournaments, just make sure to tell your drivers so that when they leave the session or the session's over, they know what to do. So we just completed our first heat race in my tournament. You'll notice that the name of the tournament is listed right here, and arrow points to the last round of the tournament. To continue into your third round, you just want to select the tournament, because you could have multiple tournaments there selected or open. But either way, any active tournament you have, again, will show up in this drop-down. Since I only have one active tournament going, I'm just going to select that and hit continue. Now I'm getting ready to begin the third round of our tournament. You'll see up here is a summary screen of the previous rounds that I've had. Our first round was a qualifying session. Our second round was our first heat race. If you want to view the results of either of these, you simply mouse over the results page and then click the subsession. This will populate the results of the tournament and allow you to take a look at who did what, where people finished, and just overall the results of the race. Just like in round 2, I'm free to choose my tournament session type. Again, we've got two options, just like before, qualifier and race. I'm going to do another heat race, so I'm just going to select open practice plus race. The tournament round designation is going to stay as my preliminary round because I don't want to end the tournament. By choosing final round, that would end this tournament. And again, I'm not ready to do that, so I'm going to choose preliminary round. Now that it's time to set up my race field, I'm just simply going to load drivers like I did last time. This is going to load the drivers in the finishing order from the previous round. If I wanted to, I could add additional drivers by entering their customer ID and then hitting add. Or I could remove drivers by dragging them into the recycle bin. Again, the point of this is that we give you, as the admin or host, the complete control over the session. For my third round of the tournament, which is my second heat race, I'm actually going to use two servers. To divide the grid up from my previous race, I'm going to choose to snake the field. I'm going to hit apply, and you'll see the drivers are snaked out into a group. Again, if you're dealing with a multitude of drivers, you can choose to organize these guys any way you want. You can drag them into each other's servers, and you can replace them. Again, we give you complete control to do what you'd like. For this example, I'm actually just going to use one server. All I need to do is hit apply, and everybody's loaded into my first server in the finishing order from the previous race. Again, we give you a lot of different options for how you want to do that, including inversion and a random order, but for this example, I'm just going to go with sequential. Now that I've set up my grid, the racers are all there, I'm ready to click done. Before I purchase my session, I get an opportunity to view it and make sure that all the details are complete. Again, you don't have a chance to go back and edit this once you hit confirm, so just make sure all the details are just the way you want them. Once I confirm the session, the race will begin, and the session will load. Then all my drivers will have to find it on the Join a Race screen, click the green Join button, and get into the session. So we'll get started. Okay, we just finished up our third round of my tournament. This was technically our second heat race, and now it's time to look at the results. One of the really neat features of hosted racing is that you can go and view tournament results specifically. Now, as the admin of the session, it's going to automatically populate my previous tournaments. Once I get to tournament results, I can search for tournaments by driver or by the session that I've hosted. Again, all of these search parameters are familiar to you. You can also search by the tournament name. And of course, you can use different dates. So if you're going to be running a lot of tournaments on iRacing, we've made it as easy for you as possible to search for those results. I'm going to just go and take a look at the results. And also the finishing position from that race is right here, along with the interval. You can also view the results directly by clicking on the R results icon. Again, one great feature of the tournament results page is that you can go back to previous tournaments that you've had. Every tournament that you host or that you are a part of is searchable and visible on this page here. So you can go in and look at previous rounds and find out how you did, and it's very functional. As you know, we've just completed our second heat race, which is our third round. Now I'm going to go back into my tournament as I want to launch my third heat race, and it'll be my final round in the tournament. Again, all of this information to you should now be familiar. You can look at the previous rounds here. You can enter the parameters for your session here. But the one thing that we're going to do is I'm going to make this my final round. When you select final round, it means that your tournament is now going to be finished after the race is over. Because this is the final round of my tournament, I'm going to do a simple open practice plus race. So now it's time to set the grid for my final race of this tournament, my main event. I'm just going to load my drivers down. I also can choose how I want the grid to be set. Again, I'm just going to simply choose a sequential, which is going to place the drivers in position based on where they finished the previous race. So we just completed our fourth round and our final race of the tournament. But it's important that you understand where you can go to view the results of your tournament. It's right back under hosted. You go to tournament results, and then you can see here that the status of all my tournaments is complete, including the most recent tournament which I launched down here. Now that my fourth and final round of the tournament is over and I'm on the tournament results page, I can view a summary of my entire tournament. You'll see here rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4 are noted, along with the titles that I actually gave each round. If I open this box here, it'll show me the results of my final round, including the interval. And it also tells me which drivers won and the finishing position. If I want to view the actual results, I just have to put my mouse over the R icon here, click that, and the results will populate. Thanks for watching that how-to segment on tournament racing. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.